Before I give the acceptance speech, I want to say something about the coincidences that came together tonight. The fact that you chose the evening in Paris as the theme is very interesting because 8 years after retirement, Dennis went back to Immaculate and audited French classes every day for 3 years. And his goal was to beat some girl that always got 100. And we were fortunate enough to go to the application in in Paris rather, in France. It was for Basil Moreau, the founder of the order in which he had been a seminarian. And our last night was an evening in Paris. Also, my 6-year-old granddaughter this year had her daddy-daughter dance as the theme, the evening in Paris, and that's where the Eiffel Tower came from. So that's really great. But the best part of the synergy for tonight is the award that is being given to Carl Bailey and his wife Lauren. Dennis and I both taught Carl, so it is amazing to me that he is here this night to be recognized. Not amazing because he didn't. But I remember Carl as a freshman like a deer in headlights, so overwhelmed by high school. And for me to see how he found his talents, developed them, and then used them for such humanitarian reasons, it warms my heart. And that's the beauty of being a teacher. So congratulations, Carl. You can't clap because I have 8 minutes. I can't. I think it would be interesting for you to know how the Bouffards came to Immaculate. We actually had somebody there from July 1st, 1962 to June of 2003. I have the distinction of being the first person hired for Immaculate High School because the bishop had signed a contract with the Order of Nuns. He appointed the priest, but I was the first one hired. And it happened this way. I had just graduated from high school. My CYO director, Father Gala, said to me, there's a new Catholic high school starting and the principal needs a secretary for the summer. Will you take the job? I must have done an eye roll because he said, well, at least go talk to him. So I went and talked to Father Houston and was interviewed. I was 17, remember that. I remember going home and saying to my mother, there was no way I want to work for an old priest all summer. He was 34. But I was serious. And my mother said, Father Gala has been very good to you. You can put up with anybody for the summer. And that began a 56-year relationship with a wonderful priest who was my mentor, my advisor, my counselor, and ended up being a best friend to the family for all those years. So the first life lesson to be learned is listen to your mother. Okay, after a number of years, Dennis was in the seminary of the Congregation of Holy Cross, and he was teaching at Notre Dame High School in Bridgeport. And after a while, he realized he didn't have a vocation to the priesthood, so he left the order, but assumed he would still be teaching there. And the principal had no problem. The superintendent had no problem. I'm not the superintendent. The order of priests had no problem. The superintendent said absolutely not. It would be too confusing for the boys to have you as a seminarian this year and the next year to be a layperson. Well, that was pretty lame, and nobody accepted that. So the order, the principal, and Dennis fought with the superintendent for a good 3 weeks. Finally, the superintendent said, look, there's an opening at Immaculate, you can have that. So he also came here under protest. And after the first year of teaching, he put a request in to go back to Notre Dame. It didn't happen. Second year, he put a request in. It didn't happen. Third year, Father Houston said, are you going to request a transfer? He said, no, I'm staying. Because by that time, we were dating. So the lesson there is sometimes when you're really angry at how life has played out, God has a plan. And 6 of them are sitting over there right now. So on behalf of my family, Dennis's 7 siblings who are here, I'd like to thank you for this award and end with lines from a favorite hymn. We remember how you loved us to your death, and still we celebrate, for you are with us here. Thank you.